Good morning. Today we are doing our last objective, CO35. I can find a percent of change. So perhaps you've encountered one or more of the following situations. Last year's 8th grade class had 60 students. This year's class only has 54. What is the percent of increase from last year to this year? That would actually be a decrease. But the total snowfall in winter of last year was 48 inches. This year it was 32 inches. What is the percent of decrease from last year to this year? In 1998, a 20-ounce bottle of Mountain Dew was 99 cents. In 2021, a 20-ounce bottle of Mountain Dew was $1.89. That's a huge increase. What is that percent of increase in price? And the original price of an 8 gigabyte iPhone 2007 was $600. Today you can buy one on eBay for only $20. What is the percent of decrease in price? To answer questions like the ones above, we use a special formula. And that formula is something that we will be putting on our help sheet. But we're going to learn how we use this formula. The formula that we have is the difference between the values. And when we say the difference between two values, that means you take the big number and you subtract out the small number. We do not go into negative numbers. You don't take the first number and subtract out the second number. You always put the big number, subtract the second to find the difference. No negative numbers. Then we divide it. That's what that fraction bar means. That means we divide it. Just imagine that turning into a division symbol. You divide the top, that difference, from the original number, that first number in the problem. So if we look at our students, we have 60 students minus 54 students, and we're going to divide that by our original amount, which was 60. There were 60 8th graders last year. So then we do our math. 60 minus 54 is 6 divided by 60. So on your calculators, do 6 divided by 60. And what do you get, Connor? 6 divided by 60 is not 10. What is 6 divided by 60? Come on now. 0.1. Big difference. We want that decimal because the question is asking what is the percent of change. So we need that decimal to know a percent. How do we convert that decimal into a percent now? Layla? No. Well, you can add a 0, but what does that become? What percent does 0.10 become? 10%. So Connor, what you had done was you had taken 60 and divided it by 6. You always have to take the top number, that numerator, divide it by the denominator. So we get that decimal. So we can, where did we get the 6? 60 minus 54. So we're finding that difference between the two numbers. So let's look at our snowfall. What am I going to put as my numerator? Jimena? We started off with 48 inches of snow minus the 32 inches of snow. Do you see where we got that, Bryn? Okay. We need to put the original value as our denominator. What is the first amount of snowfall that there was, Bryn? 48. So that's going to be that denominator. So now we just do the math. What is 48 minus 32? 16. Divided by 48. What is 16 divided by 48, Melanie?
0.33.
0.33. So what is our percent of change?
33%.
33%. So that's why we do multiple problems, Brent. It starts to sink in as we're going through it. If at first you go, whoa, this is confusing, it's all swimming, just stick with it. Keep following along with me, and as we do more, it starts to make more sense. Let's look at the Mountain Dew. How do I find the difference between the values, Madison?
You put, let's see, number 3.
So look at your paper. I had to scroll up.
0.99 is
189.
180.
So which number are we gonna put first?
We're gonna put that, 99.
Remember, when we find the difference, we don't want to go into negative numbers. So we're gonna put our big number first, which was $1.89, and we subtract out the smaller number. But on the bottom, we always put the original number. So what was our first number, Madison? 99 cents, 0.99. So what is $1.89 minus 99 cents? Jimena? 0.9. And we're gonna divide that by that 99 cents. So what is 0.9 divided by 0.99? Jimena? 0. Hold on. 0.9 divided by 0.99 is 0. So what we get, and this is important, friends, this is what we're getting. Remember, when we work percentages, we always round to the hundredth place. So that hundredth place is followed by a 9. We know how to round. If it's followed by 9, what are we going to round that 0 to? Is it going to stay a 0? It rounds up to a 1. So our answer would be 0.91. Because we round to the hundredth place. That hundredth place is followed by a 9. So that means we have to round up. And rounding does matter. Jimena? Yes, the answer would be 91%. I circled the wrong one. So the answer would be 91%. Does that make sense? Always rounding to the hundredth place so we can turn it into a percent. Let's look at the iPhone. What am I going to write on as for the numerator? Zelda?
We're gonna write 600 minus 20 over 600.
600 minus 20, because we always put the big number minus the small number, and then we put the original value as our denominator. What is 600 minus 20, Madeline? 580 divided by 600. What is 580 divided by 600? Sawyer. So if it's 0.96666, what do we have to round to, Sawyer? Which place?
1.
Which place do we round to? Oh, what is our magic number with percents? 100. So we round to the hundredth place. So what decimal am I going to want to write down if I'm rounding to that hundredth place? Hannah Mae?
0.97.
0.97. Because that 6 is followed by a 6 that's bigger than 4. 5 or more, you round up. So we're rounding that hundredth place up to the 7. So what percent of change is that, Layla? 97%. Let's do a couple together. Find the percent of change, round to the nearest 10. we're not gonna do that. Because when we're working with percentages, we're rounding to the nearest hundredth. Silly Mr. Schultz. Rounding to the hundredth, so cross off that tenth and put hundredth. Now let's look. Our original was 120. The new number is 150. What do I put as my numerator? Melanie.
150 minus 120 over 120.
150 minus 120. We put the big number, subtract out the smaller number, and then we always put the original as our denominator. 150 minus 120 is 30, divided by that 120. And what do I get? Madeline? 0.25, and I need to convert that into a percentage. What percent is 0.25, Callie? 25%. I'm going to put that percent sign on there so I know it's a percentage, and I'm going to circle it so I can see what my final answer is. How are we feeling on this? Show me your thumbs. I've got a couple that are like, I'm not sure, so I'm going to do the next one with us. Just one more to get us into the habit. Bryn, I am going to ask that you use your pencil, though, to write with, in case we have to erase if we make mistakes. So, our original is 20, our new is 5. So we put our big number minus our small number divided by that original number. 20 minus 5 is 15. That denominator stays the same. So what is 15 divided by 20? 0.75. How do I convert that to a percentage? Liv? 75%. So you always take the bigger number, subtract the smaller number, divide it by that original number. Now I am writing it all out. Do you think I want you to write it all out? Yeah. That's the show your work. Because when we go back to correct it, if we make mistakes, we can see where that mistake happened. We really saw when we were correcting the objective already from yesterday, we could find where those mistakes were because people had shown their work. So I want you to show your work. Now we know that today is a Thursday. Khan Academy is due tonight. There are quite a few of us that need to finish up our Khan Academy assignments. Tomorrow is a Friday, so it's a retake day. You can also continue working on this assignment tomorrow. We will be correcting it Monday. Okay? Then on Monday and Tuesday of next week, I have some important but yet fun holiday math that we're going to do because I'm not testing us the 2 days right before break. So there will be some fun math that we're going to do next week, but it's important math that we need to know how to do. So we will correct this on Monday. So class time is almost done for us. We're switching early, but we can continue to work on it tomorrow. If you are watching this at home, I hope you are well. Have a wonderful day. Hope to see you soon.